Alrighty guys, how's it going out there? Rooster in 10, roostercb.com, and sitting in front of us is a Heathkit SB220 2kW linear amplifier. If you're not familiar with these, never have seen them, you don't know what the heck it is, they are probably one of the most well-known 2-tube 500Z boxes ever made. Can be ran on 220 or 110. This one's wired up on 110. Really nice amp, really nice condition, especially for its age. A oldie but a goodie. One of the again, one of the most popular 2-tube 500Z boxes ever made. And you'll also see people that do stuff with these things, kind of customize them. People pull, a lot of the innards out of them and end up cramming, 3, 4, 5 500Zs in it, and then doing a power supply in a separate cabinet. But again, this one's just one-piece cabinet, essentially stock. Came from a ham operator, super nice guy to deal with. I tried to negotiate with him on the price a little bit. He didn't want to budge on the price any, but he did toss in a couple of spare 500Z tubes that were used, but he did say they were, 75 to 80, maybe even 85%. The tubes were. They were iMac tubes that came out of it. And I think these are iMacs that are in it. But they're shining nice and bright there, and judging by the output, I believe these tubes are essentially as good as new. And again, he tossed the spare tubes in and even met me halfway, which is not something I was expecting. I didn't ask him to do. So nice fella there. It was good to meet him. And yes, he was a ham operator. So the band switch and everything like that's intact. It hasn't been modified in any way. He gave me a little backstory on it. He said he got it from a guy that used to work for Ten Tech, I believe, which is in Knoxville. So the guy worked on everything, but it actually came from him. It does take a foot pedal. It does take a foot pedal to key it up there. It's got multimeters on the front of it. You got a grid current meter, which when we put some power to it, you would see that come up. And then your high voltage meter that just tells you your resting high voltage. And again, when we key it, you'll see that high voltage drop back a little bit. Looks like it's idling about 3,300 volts. Now on these, you can run them. It's essentially kind of like a high and low for the amp. If you put it in the CW or tune position, you'll see that meter slowly fall down. And that's because they don't want you running, 3,400 volts or 3,300 volts when you're in CW, because CW's pretty hard on stuff. You're running a really stiff carrier, so somebody might run this thing at 1,000 watts CW, which is essentially like running a 1,000 watt dead key. You wouldn't want to be volting it and doing that too. When I first turned it on, tuned it up, it was not tuned for 11 meter, obviously, so it had a little bit of an arc on this tuner over here. That's common on these. If they get out of tune, if they're way out of tune and you go to trying to force power into them, the tuners will try to arc a little bit. So that didn't really scare me or anything. I wasn't really worried about it. They are very, very touchy to tune. I'm telling you guys, you have to go back and forth, and just like some of the amps I've talked about before, when you peak one out, and when you're doing this, you're not just cranking it like you would like maybe a sweep tube amp or something. It's just ease the knob. Hello. And you'll get to your max point, bounce over to this knob. Hello. And just ease the knob around till you get to the maximum output. And then you'll go back and forth, because as you increase or decrease the value on this one, you'll have to do the same to that one. It affects the tune. So you don't just do it one time, and you're good to go. My God, if I'd have done that, I'd have been sick, because this thing was doing like 600 watts. And I eventually worked it back and forth, and boom, I hit the sweet spot on the tuner. It jumped from like 800 watts to like 1,400 watts. I jumped back to the other tuner, brushed it up a little bit, and we got our output out of it. Now, how much drive can these things take? Well, that's probably debated a bit as far as 500Zs and stuff go. These have a fairly light duty transformer in them. It's not like if it has the stock transformer. I don't know that this one does. The plate voltage is pretty high on this one, so it could have an aftermarket transformer in it. But stock transformer, you don't want these things drawing probably over 0.7, 0.8 amps would be kind of the max. I think it's like a 0.7 amp CCS transformer in here. I could be wrong on that, but we'll see what it's doing here. I've got a striker over here. If I can, my mic will reach. Let's see. Trying to scoot my radio closer where my microphone will reach. Hello, 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 audio. So what are we drawing there? Between 0.5 and 0.6. That's not going to hurt it at all. That's kind of loafing it, but that's probably where I'd run it if I had it. Run it right there, and then if you want to use it as a driver, you know, obviously you have to take a decent sized amp. Something like this guy sitting below it here. This is a 2-tube 3000 Ghost Rider RF deck. Needs some tubes in it, but you could drive this into something like that if you wanted to. But anyway, yeah, it's only drawing 0.5 to 0.6 amps, so no biggie there. Now, one thing I will mention about these, you know, obviously this old amp, they weren't really concerned a ton about the input tone back then. So if you're going to run a transistor amp into this, or long-term run like a transistor radio into it, it might be a good idea as it sets to run a antenna tuner just between the radio and the amp. That way you could get the input SWR down on the amp. You know, it could be a little bit high for some of the amps out there that are kind of sensitive to high SWR or high reflected power. Otherwise, of course, the amp could be modified. You could put a tuned input in it, and or just mess with the fixed input even, and get that input tone down a little bit. The bypass tone on it is flat. It's like a 1-0, but the input tone's a little bit high for my liking, and I'm not saying it would blow anything up that you hooked up to it, but it is a little bit high for my liking. So that's just a piece of advice. That's not anything wrong with the amp. It's just when they were made, you know, they didn't really have to worry about that back then. Every radio was a tube type radio. Every amp that you could use that would be driven into this was mainly a tube type amp, and tube type amps and radios don't really give a crap about, you know, a high input tone. It's not really going to hurt them any. So that's just my word of advice on that. Just being transparent about it. But let's ease over here to the watt meter. I'll show you guys what this thing does. Again, I got a friend that's probably going to take it. He's been wanting me to find him a 110 volt driver, something with a couple 500Zs in it, and I don't think he's going to find one much better than this. 2500 watt slug here, and we're looking at the top scale. Hello, yo, that's average power, so about 600 watts average, maybe a little more. And then our PEP, hello, yo, about 1450 to 1500 PEP there. Now, if you're wondering what we're putting into it, it's a all the way 447. It's actually my all the way 447 striker. And let's just see what it does here. Same scale, 250 watt slug, top scale. Hello, audio, 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 audio. About 135 or 140 going through this amp and everything. And we're at 14.5 volts or something on it. Audio, audio, audio. Okay, and this is our average power out of our striker. Hello, 50 to 60 average there. So, you know, that's about what a 500Z box is going to do. About let's say 10 times what you put into it. Well, I was going to say 2 times. 10 times what you're going to put in it. We're putting about 135 in, and we're seeing about 1450 to 1500 out. And putting, you know, 50 to 60 average in and seeing what, 600 average, 650 average out. It'll do more, guys. This thing will do more. If you want to hit it with 200 watts, it's going to jump up and do, you know, 2 kW. 180 to 200 watts will make it do a couple thousand PEP. And on the average power side, you know, somewhere between 800 and 1,000 watts average. But that's it. Heathkit SB220, again, one of the most well-known 22500Z boxes out there. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Again, it may be up for sale, may not be. I may run it, keep it for a little while. If it does become available, I will put it up on the website. If he tells me, hey, no, you know, I'd like to have something a little newer or something else, I will put this one up on the website if that becomes the case. It will be local pickup only, though. So, appreciate it, guys. Rooster and 10, roostercb.com. See you, bye.